Hello, everyone, and welcome in to a little bit of a short series looking at some interviews and discussing some of the Total War franchise. Today,
Hello,
we're joined by Nays Bays.
it's me. I'm the next bait. I'm joining
So
the
today,
Bjorn.
that's still going to confuse me pointing.
I,
Yeah, we're on the opposite end.
okay, so for those of you watching my end of the video, Bjorn is over there, and for those of you watching the Bjorn one, he's somewhere on the screen around here. I'm gonna point in a general direction. I guess it's
Flying
right.
in the ether. Go on. Well, today we are looking to have a little chat about Rome, both versions. So,
The good one
go on, I
and
figure.
the bad one. That's not bad. We'll get to it.
Go on. Well, we're going to start off with actually a pretty open question to begin with, and I just want to know, what is your first experience with Total War?
My very first one was actually Medieval 2 without any of the Kingdoms expansions, just the plain base game. No, that wasn't even available for Steam at the time. That just came later and then I bought it. But Medieval 2 uh, got to play as Portugal because got to represent, am I right? And I cheated
Well,
all my way to victory.
after you've finished your first campaign, you're allowed to play as Portugal.
No, I cheated. I got my. I went to the desk shred and just got. Oh, Portugal's there. Placed it on to playable and it works. I cannot wait to just play as Portugal. And now I was a little kid. I was like, I'm so excited. Let's go play as Portugal. And then I cheated my way to victory. Just brought it up. Auto win attacker, auto win defender. Beat the Mongols that way with peasants. It was pretty fun.
Which I'm still impressed the fact you managed to actually beat the Mongols, given the generals will stay alive at the end of each auto.
And
It's been a lot of autos.
that was a lot of autos, and I had to recruit a lot of peasants because in every single battle they kept losing troops. So yeah, I needed to get more units of peasants, the mighty peasants.
I remember that. So Medieval 2 is the beginning, but your channel is pretty focused on Rome. So I'm kind of curious, what drew you into Rome Total War after Medieval?
Well, there's a thing called burnout for games. I suffer that with basically all of them. Empire, Medieval, Napoleon, Shogun 2, all of them. I'm quite tired of them all, especially Rome 2. But Rome, I just keep getting back to it because the color palette, for starters, is amazing. I love the different colors of the units. It's pretty damn cool. And the mods are pretty impressive that I'm able to play so many different time periods. I mean, it can range from the Bronze Age to Napoleonic era style war, so that's a big variety. Am I right?
Oh, definitely. There's a massive modding community for all the old Total Wars, but particularly Rome Medieval 2. Do you feel that it's really the mods that made you stick with Rome then?
Most, yeah, definitely. It was just the mods because, for those of you who don't know, I play as the Julii quite recently ago, and I decided, yeah, this is on hold now. It's because it's a boring. It's just fighting the Gauls, fighting the Hispanics. Okay, it's always the same unit with the different skin, different color palette, and it's just nah. I'm bored. I'm bored of that. Just gonna go and do something else. And immediately when I stopped that, I played as House Bolton for the Valar Morghulis Total War, which was actually pretty nice. Such a different experience.
That's I'm assuming that's a fairly recent one, unless it's based off the books rather than the movies. TV series.
I think it might have a bit of both because it has the portraits of the characters of the series, but it has a lot of things that only happened in the books. So a bit of a healthy mix of both. That's a good mod, actually. It's an interesting mod as well. And House Bolton forever because Everyone hated him, but I loved Ramsey Bolton. He was just the best. He had so much flavor. But that's off topic. Back on track.
I was actually going to say, on the note of mods, what is it that you look for in a mod for Rome Total War?
Something that is interesting and different. I normally also look at what have people not played as on YouTube. So I've not seen, for example, I've done the Greek War mod with, I completely forgot the name, with Thieves, not Thebes. Either way, that faction, I was the very first one to actually play it. After all these years, I've not seen any single other person actually play as the Greek War mod in the proper Let's Play campaign, either recently or to completion. With the Vladimir Total War, that mod hasn't drawn too much attention because Medieval 2 has a much bigger and grander mod. And yeah, I look forward to seeing factions or campaigns or stuff that no one else has done, or that are so bizarre and interesting that I have to give it a go. That's been what I've done with all my factions. I mean, I only played minor like for example, my most popular campaign is Mexico for Empire and Ireland for Napoleon Total War. Still to this day.
Interesting. Kind of get it. Definitely with because Ireland was a faction that could come if they lost the province via loyalty. I didn't know. Is Mexico actually in the base game, or is that completely made new?
I had to mod the game. I had to get Mexico as a playable faction. I had to load it up, save the game, exit out, load Darth Maul, and then I was able to play as Mexico with Darth Maul because Darth Maul adds more units and actually makes Mexico a fun faction to play as. I actually had a tutorial on that quite a few years ago. That's still one of my popular videos this day. I'm like, it's so old. I still have a voice like this. Hello, I'm going through puberty.
I will say, for so many players coming into Total War, with this remaster, we see a lot of players asking about the original. And of course, that leads to a lot of modding and a lot of things new players aren't really used to. Even things like going into the settings and enabling yourself to play different factions, all fairly commonplace. I mean, even I can remember back in the day editing the time limits on it. But since there are so many new players coming, what would you recommend to them in terms of mods? What would you say are really the key ones they should look out for?
Well, depends on what they want. As I have stated, there's a big variety. So, if you want historical accuracy in the Roman time period, you could either go with Europa Barbarorum, Roman Total Realism, and so many others. Imperial Surrectum, I believe, as well. If you want fantasy, there's the Game of Thrones mod. There's also, well, it's not fantasy, but we don't know much, but Bronze Age Total War mod. There's also the Napoleonic Wars one. There's Napoleon, but if you want to play in Rome, you can. So it depends on what they want. The mod DB page for the mods in Rome, it's just vast. You will definitely find something there, most definitely.
I've actually just got up at one of the pages because the related files on Rome Total War 599. This has been going since 2004, so there's plenty on there, and actually plenty of them recently updated. May the 2nd, 2021 is the Rise of Rome mod, only recently updated.
That one it's very fun. I mean, very beginning of Rome. They're still using Greek units. It's very interesting as well. I mean, they're still kind of Trojan. It's amazing. But for the newer Rome, nothing like that still exists. And it needs to, because that's what kept the original Rome and Medieval 2 alive all these years. I mean, Legend of Total War, for example, he still played Medieval 2 to a couple of years ago. Then Warhammer just drew him in, and he just fell in love with it. But Medieval 2 was the
It
main
was
focus.
a big transition with the introduction of Warhammer from most players going from mixing the historicals to almost dedicating themselves to the fantasy, which is interesting given, as you said, with Napoleon, we already had mods for those, yet people still play the mods rather than the main game. Yet when it comes to things like Warhammer, people are playing the Warhammer official and not really playing the mods as much. There's still plenty of players out there. Do
Obviously,
you feel the modding community is changing, reacting to this with the remaster coming up?
if I am to be honest, CA is the one that actually adapting to what the modding community has to offer, because a Warhammer mod was already available for Rome and for Medieval 2. So they just got the license and decided we got to do Warhammer games now. And now they're actually doing a superb job.
Now we can print money.
Now we can print money. Don't print money. That's bad for the economy. But
Oh, I'm sorry. They code DLC, which gives them money. There we go.
yes, especially the blood pack. But either way, they actually did a good job.
The Rome Remastered Blood Pack are.
They actually did a good job with the Warhammer one, but they're taking a whole lot of time to actually get the full map in, when the modders already brought all the factions and all the map in the mods. So it's just, it's printing money now. There we go.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if it's the Rome or the Medieval 2 one, but that actually does include out towards Araby. I believe it has Cathay and that lot in it as well, and like the Horde greenskin factions, the Goblin Hordes.
Yes, I think it might be. Both of them have Araby and the Goblins and whatnot, but I believe Medieval 2, because it can have more factions, has more factions. And the Medieval one's much better. I've never actually been able to play much because it kept on crashing on me. But I've seen a lot of people play it, and it is very, very good. It's actually a bit on par with what we have nowadays with Total War Warhammer. And people are still annoyed that they haven't called Total Warhammer and Total War Warhammer. It's a bit of a mouthful. That's off the point.
I don't mind it. I don't mind the Total War Warhammer. But we've kind of mentioned it a wee bit, but the Rome Remastered's come out.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, initial reaction. What are you thinking? You've played how many campaigns, or how? I know you've definitely played a lot of battles on it.
So far, first things first, the game is fun. But the original one was already pretty damn fun. So they didn't change anything in regards to that. So that's a bonus. They haven't changed how much fun the game is, and now it looks pretty. But I'm going to get to the streamlines in a little bit. I've done the historical battles, all of them for the base game Rome. They've made the game easier, in my opinion. Much easier and much quicker. The average time I got on the historical battles that normally took me a long time to actually complete in Rome Classic, it took me about 4 or 5 minutes. Even Teutoburg Forest, I took 8 minutes to beat that. So
I'm assuming that's on higher difficulties as well, or
yeah, very hard difficulty. I beat them all on very hard difficulty. So yeah, it's not too much of a brag when the AI is so poor, but
oh yeah, if you try them enough, eventually you will pretty much complete everyone. Or at least that's what's happened with Shogun and Medieval so far for me. I'm assuming Rome will be the same. But do you feel that change in time, the speed increase, is because the UI, you can now control your units better, it's easier and quicker to set them up?
First things first, I hate the new unit portraits. They all look the same to me. I was looking at Teutoburg Forest and I was like, yeah, this is a legionary one because it has the Lorica, Hamata, or Segmentato, or whatever. They have the shield, they have the sword, and they look robust. No, I was looking at the Praetorian Guard for whatever reason. I thought it was a legionary. And then when I clicked on a legionary one, I thought it was This looks like a Hastati, but this isn't. Yeah, no, it's a legionary one. They look the same. They cannot look the same. They need to be We need to tell them apart. But that's just a personal thing for me. But
Mhm.
what I think they've done is they made them quicker to bring newer people into the game that haven't tried it and might get put off with how slow the game can be sometimes. I mean, the AI sometimes has a bit of brilliantism in saying, oh, the enemy is going to win against us, so we're gonna get out of here. And sometimes they do flank you, or they just bottleneck you, so sometimes they are good. Not all the times, but sometimes they are good. And they've done the pathfinding better now. Now the troops now know where to go inside the city, which was a big problem in.
I still see a lot of issues.
As
Personally, I'm doing a playthrough of Skippy Eye. Still a lot of problems when they get into the city, moving between the streets. They seem to like going into those buildings.
And I had a bug on mine where I charged 2 general units against a unit that was against the wall. We killed the unit, and when my general units got stuck, I was unable to move them. I could still issue orders and change
Mhm.
change their formation and everything, but they wouldn't move. And the other one could. It's a weird bug that I never encountered in the Rome Classic. It's Rome Classic now, it has to
Let's
be.
see. This is Rome Classic now. I
It's
hadn't thought of that. Yeah, we have to rename it.
Or we just call it Total War Rome, and then Total War Rome, the pretty one. Probably. Because it is pretty, it's really pretty.
Mhm.
But the other game also has its charms with the Again, the color palette is just incredible. And there's an option to actually turn off the color palette,
Mhm.
which I find stupid. Why would you do that? The amazing thing about Rome is, yeah, it's not historically accurate having the 3 different families, but having green, blue, and red Romans is cool. I like that. It's really cool. There's even a mod for Rome 2 that does that.
I haven't actually seen that mod. I've seen the Rome in Rome 2 mod. But no, interesting. Go on the note of mods. So I was just wanting to bring up that has been an official statement about what Feral's doing with mods.
Oh, there has been.
Well, I say official. There's been a message, a
There's been
message on a
mess-
message board. Who knows?
Oh my, okay.
But Edwin in brackets Feral has declared, yes, we're lifting the limits from the original game to allow for more factions and settlements to be added to maps. More information in due course. We'll also be monitoring and keeping in contact with the modding community post-release. Help CA. So they are showing a little bit of dedication there to the modding community, and even doing something we've wanted for a while, removing those caps, so we can, well, I say we, the modders,
Yeah.
can expand the map, introduce more factions, introduce more settlements.
That is good, but they still have not. Normally they are very vocal whenever they give out the modding tools for the community to do. They've not done anything of the sort as of yet. So how far can the modding community actually go if nothing is said about any mod tools or anything? It's quite weird, but okay.
Well, let's say as well on the mods, we have so that last one I should just state very quickly comes from PC Games N, whereas this is Game Watcher. Game Watcher has released a lovely little article about how the first mod adds naval battles, new provinces, and hot seat to the campaign. How do you feel about the introduction of such features having to be mods?
So we're gonna have hot seats now.
Yes, that apparently has been modded in.
Oh, so they're introducing apparently bit by bit. That's good. But again, we do need the modding tools. They normally say, here are the modding tools, go nuts. But they at least are trying. Normally Feral hasn't said anything much, and them having actually said that is very good for at least the community that plays the game. So
Yeah.
at least the hot seat one was a very big thing in Medieval too. It it was the only game actually that had a hot seat campaign where I also took part in a couple of them. Legend of Total War and Pixelated Apollo, a lot of them got their break on hot seat campaigns, and they are very interesting because you are the only one who can actually play that faction specifically. So it would be very cool to see that come back into YouTube, because that was one of the more amazing things for
Yeah.
Medieval 2, that people could
And
select, oh, I want to play that faction, and they only play that faction, and if they lose, they are out, and someone has to win. That's very
I hadn't
cool.
really thought about that. Yeah, in reintroducing it to I'm going to say the YouTube curriculum.
Yes.
So yeah, could definitely give way to a lot of interesting campaigns coming up soon.
And a lot of new content as well. I mean, being an hot seat also helps with, for example, I'm in Portugal and you're in Japan. There's a big time difference. Suppose that we're going to do a co-op campaign. We have a very limited time window. But if it is a hot seat, we can do whenever. It's good. It's good like that because it is a hot seat. Probably as if someone loses the file. That's a bit of a problem.
That was the most common way for these things to end.
Yes.
Always remember in school we had the same issue. Someone lost the thumb drive. Old days, man. Show me age. So we've got some nice mods coming in, little by little, sort of trickling through. Do you think the modding community, which is still active in Rome, will start to shift over to Rome Remastered now?
Depends again if they give them the mod tools to do that. I've seen, what was it called, the Roma Surrectum or something?
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up, there has been a teaser on some of the mods. Let me find you. I will say as well, I tried to bring up a picture of the unit icons, and there aren't any out yet, interestingly enough.
I had to take a picture myself to actually showcase it on this, what do you call it, podcast, an interview. Either way, I have to actually take a picture myself of what I am seeing, because that is annoying. But either way, that is the very first mod. That's actually...
We bring this up, on Workshop. We have Total Conquest as the most subscribed currently, adding 35 new provinces and unifying the Roman houses. We have Imperium Surrectum is coming over to Rome Remastered, but currently just a teaser, so no big news on that one. The classic Rome menu loop, which I don't know why, but I love that they've just taken it retro. Perfect.
Yeah. And even the loading screens, it's also there. It's incredible.
Original loading screens are in.
I haven't had any luck with any mods working for me, and I hope they fix it soon because it's a bit of a pain. For if it happens for me, it might happen for someone else, and it's a bit of a pain to actually get them to work. And I not have any luck so far. But
I am curious. I personally haven't tried any mods on the new Rome Remastered. What is the situation? Is it like other workshops on Steam? You just click them, say I want this mod turned on, and play, or
it's like the Rome 2 mod launcher thing. You select the mod you want, and then you're good to go. You should just click play. But the thing is, I subscribe to the unit icon of original Rome because I wanted that to not confuse my teeny tiny little head with that. But the workshop thing in the game loading thing, it kept on buffering and I was unable to actually get them to load. So that's a bit of a shame.
Lagging out.
Yeah, my internet's not bad, but that's just pulling my leg over there. But okay.
I'm curious on something you mentioned. You're saying it's blowing your little mind. How do you feel the veteran players coming in, trying to play Rome Remastered, which it's not a huge change from the original UI for certain things. It's all kind of almost where it was before, but there's definitely a change in there. Do you feel the old players are going to deal with this update?
For one, I hate the new UI. I prefer the old one. It's much simpler. It's just sleek. It's just okay. That does that and that does that. Okay, cool. The other one just fills up the entire screen. I'm unable to do anything else. Fills up my entire screen, and I just get more confused. And the units just, oh, what is this?
So is that the panels, the parchments, you mean,
Yeah.
when they pop up, like your family scrolls, I think it's called in that.
Yeah.
No, it's just family list in that one, sorry.
Yeah, it's just a list. It's not a family tree, it's just a list. I find it stupid. And also find it stupid that the big information that I need, it's on a teeny tiny little box on the side, and that I have to scroll through, and then I need to actually select and deselect, and I cannot have both at the same time. Why? What's wrong with unit cards? It's been forever, since the beginning of Total War. Rome has it, Medieval has it, Empire, Napoleon, Shogun too, they all have it. So why did they decide to change and make it streamlined, should we call it? I don't find that's an improvement, that's actually a downgrade, at least for me.
Interesting. So I will say, you have not played the iOS version of Rome, have you?
No. That's only available for... Yeah, that's only iOS. This is an Android. So, I was never a fan of Apple phones, so I never got to buy one, so Android all the way. And also, since I'm here, Team Slytherin all the way, shameless plug.
Lovely. Well, no, it's just interesting seeing how certain aspects of the iOS version have been brought over onto a PC game, which is interesting. I do feel the color palette for me definitely feels like it is on the iPhone, the iOS version.
If Total Biscuit were alive, and if he saw a game that had iOS versions in a computer game,
we would have an extremely good video on our hands.
Yes, we would have. He must be tumbling about, just being really annoyed that there are still games nowadays that have ported things from cell phones and tablets onto computer
I
games.
will say it's not ported. For anyone who's played both versions, they definitely changed aspects of it to work on a PC. But there is a slight feeling, if you've played both, they're a bit more familiar than with playing just the classic Rome and going into this.
Yeah, because Pharaoh made the iOS version, right? So that's their experience in making games, I believe. Have they done anything else? Not that I can recall. So if
honestly, don't know either.
If this is their main project, it's okay. I mean, they did a good job with how the troops look and everything, and the map looks actually fantastic. I like the colors. You can actually remove that, and it's fine if you don't like them. But if their only experience is actually iOS games, it's not that big of a portfolio into transitioning to a remaster of all things.
I honestly think anyone who can take a phone game, an iOS game, and turn it into what they've done deserves full credit. Whether you like it or not, that is impressive.
Speaking of full credit, I am annoyed that they are charging us so much for the game. For example, the makers of BioShock, they made the remastered version. It's literally the same game, better graphics. They changed nothing else, same game, better graphics, and better fluidity in modern machines. Cool. And if you had the original BioShock on Steam, you would get the remastered version for free as well. But they didn't go with that approach for the veterans.
They went half price.
They went half price. That's okay. I don't mind spending the 15 euros on that, but there are people who will definitely mind spending any money on a game that they already had just to look prettier.
Mhm.
Because that's basically what this is, or what it's supposed to be. A game that actually runs on modern computers with better graphics. That's what a remaster is. So having
Yeah.
and for those of you
Yeah,
who don't
I'll
have
take that.
for those of you who don't have Rome, fine, 30 euros being spent, it's okay because you actually get Rome Classic with all the DLC. So that might be
On
the
on
reason
that
why they did
note
it.
of getting the classic with it, do you feel that this has hindered the chance of Rome Remastered replacing Rome? Or do you just see it as a nice little touch?
It might be just a nice little touch because, I mean, if you, it's basically a 2-for-1. If you can see it that way, you buy one game and you get the
I
other
think
for free.
a 6 for 3 with the DLC in
Yeah.
or expansions.
Expansions.
Expand.
But yeah, people who don't have the game and are willing to buy it because they found it and they thought it's lovely, cool.
Mhm.
If they are willing to spend the 30 euros or pounds or dollars or whatever the currency is, that's fine. But for a remaster, I don't see other remasters being as expensive.
Final Fantasy.
Right, but yeah, okay. I haven't thought about that one. You're right about that one. Because
I will say though,
that's
that
60, right?
that is kind of a not quite its own game. It's definitely still based on the original, but there's plenty of changes, and that is a massive, massive upgrade on graphics and controls. With Rome, it's quite a strange one that they've been saying how much they're trying to keep it close to the original and really capture that feel. If it's so close to the original, wouldn't we just stay with the original?
If it's and then it's not as close to the original as they want it to be. For starters, troops now run everywhere, but they haven't changed the stamina system. And the colors are a bit different. Sometimes it's brighter, sometimes it's not. The troops sometimes look very pale and not human-like.
Yes, I've run into this a few times with units. I was on a hill, and if I went down underneath them, it was like a mannequin. It was like a model that they haven't actually finished rendering. And then as you came out, it started to then change into more of a tanned flesh.
Yeah,
so I'm not too sure if that's just a bug or if that's an actual problem with it.
It probably is a problem because I feel that they didn't have enough time to actually fully flesh out this game and actually listen to what the community wanted with this game. They just did their own thing. The game just popped out of nowhere and it was like, oh, it's coming out 29th of April. Okay. Like that?
Well, we're back in.
We're back
and,
in.
Got
OBS did me wrong, apparently. But okay.
Well, I've got one question for you, which is a little bit of a strange one. So, do you think Total War Remastered should continue to other Total Wars? Or should this simply be a one-off and we should stop living in the past?
No, we absolutely need to live in the past. I mean, so many games have been remastered these past few years, so they're being successful for a reason. They're good games. They just needed a bit more love.
Is it successful because the old games are good, or just because new games are not giving what the audience wants? They've predominantly become more and more streamlined, more and more almost arcadey in how they play, particularly when we look at Warhammer's a bit of an exception. It's fantasy, it's Warhammer, but Three Kingdoms playing on the romance mode, and Troy playing with Basically, any general that is, I can't remember the name of them, but the fighter, Agamemnon, is a great example, can basically smash an army by himself.
Yeah, I don't like that. I absolutely loathe that because I don't. That's not for me. I stopped playing Total War games from Rome onwards because I hated Attila. I found it too dark. It was just weird for me. And then what was the game that came out after that? It was Warhammer. Okay, that doesn't count. But then the next historical one was Thrones of Britannia. I never played that one. People said, oh, it's rubbish. But they actually introduced a lot of things that are good.
Oh, play it. It's a good game. I loved Thrones of Britannia. It is
Yeah,
that perfect level of so broken that it's just fun.
that's the good kind. But the other one
Yeah.
after that was Three Kingdoms. That I don't like what they've done. Now you have each commander can have a certain amount of units, and you can have about 3 commanders in each unit. It's no longer a 20-stack
Mm.
army. It's weird for me. I'm so used to being able to actually move around my troops, having forts and place them in choke points like in Rome or Medieval 2, that just is weird for me. And I decided, no, I'm not doing that. I bought Three Kingdoms, I played it, what, 20 minutes, and I decided, no. I asked for
That's
the
a
refund.
lot of money to spend on 20 minutes.
If
Never tempted to go back and give it a second try?
no, nah. Every time I see someone play, I saw you play, and I understand none of that. And if you're having fun, good on you. That I
To
did
be
not.
fair, you joined for a live stream, just so people know, where we were doing a challenge, playing on Legendary, doing a Sun Ren campaign, meaning we got rid of our heir on turn 1. Never do that. Terrible idea, but very fun.
But yeah, what I've seen from you, the battles, it looks like Attila, but with a twist. And I
Mhm.
didn't like it. I liked the commentary that you were providing, but the game itself, it was not for me. Troy came out, and I see absolutely no YouTubers doing any Let's Plays on it, which is okay.
In time, I'll get there.
But
Total challenge, man.
I don't see
Mhm.
a Lionheart or
Oh,
Alex the
definitely.
Rambler or Warriors. No one is doing any videos on
It
that.
came and went, but I feel that is more to do with the release on Epic Game Store, rather than an actual consideration of the game.
Yeah. But either way, we're just talking about the game itself.
Mhm.
And I don't actually have an Epic Game Store account, nor do I care for that. Most of the games that I play, the most recent purchase I had for a computer game was Rome, and before that was the Three Kingdoms one that I got the refund for, because most of the games that I play are actually for Xbox. I I don't
Interesting.
care. The only games I actually play on computer are Rome. That's it. That's the game that I like. Oh, and Ultimate General Civil War. I love that game. Those are the only two.
Which is very, very similar
Very, very
to
similar.
Rome. Well, and just before we end, then, since Rome is not only the basis of your channel, but the passion you have for Total War comes from that. Let's have a one suggestion. If anyone's to play a single mod for Rome Total War, what should they do?
A single mod. Okay, that's a tad bit tricky. Okay, let me just get my thing. Okay, so let me check my mods that I have. So, um, again, if you want the base game but with a better experience, there's Rome Total War Enhanced. Okay, there's also the if you want a experience more in the past on the Greeks, you have the Greek Wars. If you want more factions, you could have the Illyria Reborn campaign, which adds 2 Illyrian factions. If you
Mm-hmm.
want the Irish faction, there's also the Irish campaign. I've done a campaign on that actually. It was fun. It's a fun faction.
If
But
you're only allowed to pick one mod, all the others disappear.
so
What would you take?
if I can only play one mod for the rest of my... Okay. Either the Ranno Jidai mod, which is basically Shogun 2, which is very, very good. The Empire's Total War mod, which starts off in 17th century Europe and goes all the way until the end of the Napoleonic Wars, which is very cool. So that's 2. The 4th Age Total War mod is pretty fantastic as well, very well made. Or the Lord of the Rings Total War. I'm counting both because they're basically the same. Oh, there's my mouse cursor over here. It's right over your head.
Well, I'm going to take that for our top 3, I'm going to call that. So Lord of the Rings for a lovely bit of fantasy, Empire for a fine bit of firing. And I guess if you want to do anything else, you can. But to be honest, you've left me with Lord of the Rings, and that's all I'm thinking of. Cannot wait
I'm actually gonna
and pray that that comes out for remastered.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna swap one of my things instead of Run of Jedi. I want Chivalry Total War. It's just the best. It's absolutely fantastic. Everyone needs to play that mod. It's just good. It's really good.
Well, there's a fingers crossed there. Hopefully, some of those mods make it over into remastered. Definitely the modding community being the main thing keeping the older Total Wars alive.
Yes. It's all the videos that you see on people nowadays playing older Total Wars is, for Rome, is all the mods that they have. Medieval 2, Stainless Steel. For Empire is Minor Factions Revenge or Darth mod. And for Napoleon, it's Napoleonic Total War 3. Those are the main ones. It's always mods. You don't see anyone playing vanilla nowadays.
Hi.
Hello.
Total challenge. If you buy the game today, that's what you get.
You're not playing vanilla. We're playing with a mod with me. So, there you go.
True. Well, IDO. Well, that's been an excellent little chat and some nice little suggestions for anyone who's getting into Rome Total War for the first time. Go on, let's just finish off with what can we expect from your channel coming up in... I'm so bad at months, my brain has disappeared. In the month of May.
The month of May.
Very month of May. What will be happening on Nazebase's channel?
Right, by the time we are recording this, I already... it was scheduled, so now it's released. The episode number, was it 7? Or 8? No.
We are on...
You did episode
7's
8.
out, 8 will be out soon, or out?
Okay, so you did number 8, and I released number 7 today, by the time of recording this. I'm also doing... one of my subscribers actually commented, hey, can you do the End of Days mod for Rome? I asked which faction, and he said, anyone, they are all interesting. So, stay tuned for End of Days, hopefully this month. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And obviously this is going to be up on my channel as well. Hi!
Hello, future self.
So, but if you want to see Bjorn's side of this, shall we call it a podcast interview? I'm gonna say podcast. The link to its channel will be in the description below, obviously, because he most likely will have a different video experience than I am. I am way more lazier than he is when editing videos. Mine will be just adding some pictures from time to time, and that will be that. And that's it. Don't have anything
that's all
else
you
planned.
need to do. Go on, keep it simple.
Just chuck it in and release it as fast as possible. That's it. That's the Nazebase way.
We're just thinking of The Simpsons now. Isn't that the fast way? Yes, but stupider. Oh, other way around. I got it wrong.
But yeah, every time I do videos, I do them abridged because it's easier for me. I just record anything that is actually interesting and then just Okay, that, then my transition, that transition, that transition, then that's the video. Then put some music, and that's complete. Render. And then release everything on one go,
Excellent.
because I am the Netflix of channels. If anyone wants to see an entire series in one day, you can. Only here. I take forever to release something, but when I do, you get it all in one go. It's a big piece of pie, but you can have it all.
Excellent.
And what about you? You and that fantastic beard of yours. As you can see, mine cannot stretch as much. Yeah, that's...
Well, as always, videos every day on various topics. We are actually in a strange period on the channel, branching out and trying some new games, some new styles of content. Just have to wait and see what comes up.
Oh, it's a
But
surprise.
I'll
You
have to
made
be
me
till
say...
next time.
You made me say what I was doing. Oh, that's a betrayal.
The best I've got, unfortunately, right now. There's a lot of challenges going through.
Oh.
But I'll be till next time. Adieu, lords and ladies. Well, it's been lovely having a wee chat. I've been Bjorn, and this has been...
I'm the Nayspace, and goodbye.
So professional.
I'm a professional.